Welcome, dear friends, to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam, where each week, twice a week, we discuss a section of this king of Vedic literatures and consider lessons that we can apply practically in our everyday lives. So if you're joining us for the first time, this happens every Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. New York time, Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, if you're a regular, you know to convert that to your local time, whether it's in Australia or New Zealand or the UK or wherever you may be. Let me welcome some of you who are joining us. We have Amiyatma Prabhu joining us from Christchurch, New Zealand. Amiyatma says, "Hey Krishna, welcome Amiyatma. Thank you for being with us." Nikunja joins us from Auckland, New Zealand. Nikunja says, "Hari Krishna Prabhu." Welcome Nikunja. Thank you for being with us today. Monica Sharma is here as well, joining us from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for being with us, Monica. We're always grateful for your presence and the presence of other devotees who have been joining these classes already for the past 3 years now, since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you're online and you're watching this, you're on Facebook or YouTube, we're live streaming on both channels. Drop us a little note, say hello, let us know you're there. We can acknowledge you. It's a nice way of having a sense of Sangha and learning and growing together. So don't be shy to share your association. And as I speak, you might have some insight and realization as well. Don't be shy about sharing that, because we find that the questions, comments, reflections, insights, realizations that we discuss at the end of our talk, that's sometimes the best part actually, because some nuance comes up and we get to churn the nectar together and grow together. So there is power in community. So yeah, please don't be shy about connecting and engaging in that way. I guess I'll get started. So welcome everyone to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam, where each week, twice a week, we discuss a section of the Bhagavatam and consider lessons that we can apply practically in life. Today, our topic is very exciting. We are discussing Krishna's entering into Gurukul. So Krishna, the source of all learning, chooses to go to school. How wonderful is that? And this is based on Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 10, chapter 45, we're discussing verses 26 through to 50. So we all have experience of going to school. School can be a fun time of life. Just, what was it, about a week ago here in New York, I saw children returning to school. There was lots of excitement, parents leading their children to their respective schools, dressed in their uniforms with their books, about to start another school year. And after a summer, and so there's excitement there. There could be challenges related to going to school as well. We all have our memories. I'm sure there might be mixed memories. But can you imagine that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all learning, would also go to school as well? What would his experience be? What would be the effect of his going and sitting before a teacher, for one who already knows everything? So we can reflect on that today as we discuss this section of the Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 45, verses 26 through to 50. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are going to discuss this in 3 sections, or under 3 headings. 1, Krishna and Balaram go to Gurukula, verses 26 to 35. Then offering Guru Dakshina, verses 36 to 41. And finally, we get a hint what that Dakshina is, the return of Krishna and Balaram's Guru's son, verses 42 through to 50. So let's begin with our first section then, 26 to 35. Krishna and Balaram go to Gurukula. Where we left off, Krishna and Balaram had killed Chanura and Mushtika. Krishna had killed, finally, Kamsa, removed him from the throne, established Ugrasena Maharaj, the rightful ruler, upon the Yaru throne. And he had also released his parents, and then told Nanda Maharaj, I'll stay here for some time and give happiness to your friends. You please return to Vrindavan while I do this, bring happiness to these Yadus and Vrishnis who have experienced so much hardship under Kamsa. And so Vasudev, he's very joyful. Devaki, they're very joyful. Now they get to be parents to their long-lost sons, Krishna and Balaram. They've already grown up. They're already youths. They didn't get to be part of their childhood pastimes. But Vasudev, he wants to make the most of what's still available to him, his duty as a father. And so he arranges for Gargamuni and the other Yadu priests to perform Krishna and Balaram's samskaras, remaining samskaras, including the sacred thread ceremony called Upanayanam. We in ISKCON, we call it Brahman initiation. That's a little bit of a misnomer, because Upanayanam, it is received not just by Brahmanas. Upanayanam, that's the Upavita, or sacred thread. That's received not just by Brahmanas, but also by Kshatriyas and Vaishyas as well. They're initiated into the Brahma Gayatri, which means they're initiated into the learning of the Veda, the chanting of Vedic mantras. So Krishna and Balaram here playing the role no more of Vaishyas, but of Kshatriyas, Kshatriya princes, being initiated into the Veda, receiving Upanayana from the Yadu priests. Vasudeva is very, very happy. He gives charity. He honors these priests with nice ornaments and ornamented cows in charity. He also remembers all the cows that he gave away in his mind while in prison at Krishna's birth. And it turns out that these cows that he gave away in his mind were not just cows that he manufactured. He actually had those cows in his in his herd, 2 million cows, but they had been and so he gave away cows that he owned mentally in charity to the Brahmanas. So he remembered these cows that had since been stolen by Kamsa. So he retrieved them and made sure that they were actually received by the Brahmanas to whom he had mentally given them earlier on in Krishna's Leela. And after being initiated as Dvija, that is twice born, as having received the Upanayana samskar, having received the sacred thread, Krishna and Balaram were ready to enter into Gurukula. So initiation into the Veda is also traditionally the beginning of a Gurukula education as well. And so Krishna and Balaram, they took the vows of brahmacharya, brahmachari gurukule vasandanto gurohitan. Bhagavatam says, from the very age of childhood, this is a little late here, one should take the vow of brahmacharya and enter into the Gurukula. And so they took the vows of brahmacharya from Gargamuni, but then they entered into the ashram of Sandipani Muni. Deepa means light. So Sandipani, he is the complete light of learning. He is a very qualified teacher. He is a Brahmana of Kashi, but he resides in the city of Avanti, Avantipura, a very famous Vedic city. And so Krishna and Balaram, they go there to Avantipura to enter into Sandipani Muni's ashram. Sandipani Muni was very happy to receive them as his disciples. He could see they were of noble character and of good qualities. And so the qualified guru will take qualified disciples, and he sees that they are such. So he sees it also as a blessing to have qualified disciples as these. And in this way, Krishna and Balaram, they conceal their knowledge. They are omnipotent. They are omnipresent. They know everything. They're the source of all learning and knowledge, but they conceal their knowledge. And in doing this, they set an example for you and I to value knowledge, to value teachers as well. And so Samdipani Muni, he teaches them the Veda, and they're such good students. Just by hearing anything once, anything on any subject matter at all, they're able to assimilate it. And thus, in how many days did they stay in school? How many years did you and I stay in school? And then how many years was it for Krishna and Balaram? It was just 64 days. In 64 days, they learned 64 arts and all kinds of wonderful arts that they learned. They learned all the Vedas, but then they also learned these different arts as well, different languages and music and ways of arts like tying cloth and so on and so forth, dyeing cloth and so on. And so in this way, in just 64 days, they were ready to graduate. So we can pause here. We can reflect on some life lessons. One is to appreciate this principle of valuing knowledge and respecting knowledge and respecting teachers. This pastime, it underscores the significance of knowledge and education. Knowledge is the most valuable asset. It can open doors. It can lead to personal growth and development. It takes us from ignorance to light, to illumination. And so Vasudev's act of having Krishna and Balaram initiated, and then Krishna and Balaram entering into a school, taking shelter of a guru, is very significant in teaching us to value knowledge, to value education, to value and honor mentors and teachers as well. Another nice lesson for us, we see their humility. So humble learning and dedicated service to the spiritual master. Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, very famous. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. Approach a teacher, a spiritual teacher who will give you knowledge. And what are you to do? Render service and inquire submissively. And so Krishna and Balaram, again, despite being omniscient, they seek knowledge from a spiritual master, teaching us the importance and value of humility and learning and recognizing that there is more to learn from one's spiritual master. Even if we think we've already heard a lesson, we can realize it at a deeper level. And that realization comes through service. So serving and respecting those who guide us is a fundamental principle to learning as well, because that's where the vijnana and the blessings come that enable us to understand things at a much more profound and fundamental level. It's not just by our own effort. There is also grace that is important for learning and realization. Also significant is Krishna and Balaram's taking vows, their commitment to vows. After their initiation, they take the vow of brahmacharya. It's also a vow of celibacy, a vow of humility, a vow of service, demonstrating the importance of commitment to promises and vows, even when they are challenging as well. Okay, let's go to our second topic then, offering Guru Dakshina. So we've learned that they have completed their education very quickly. They started late, so I guess it's also an advantage that they're able to learn so quickly. They learned 64 arts in 64 days, so in just over 2 months. They're all ready for their Samavartana, that is their graduation. At the Samavartana, then Manu says that this isn't described here, but the guru honors the disciple for having had the opportunity to teach the student, and then the student expresses their appreciation by offering dakshina. And so Krishna and Balaram, on concluding their education, they've satisfied their spiritual master. They offer him Guru Dakshina. And they ask him to choose whatever he would like from them, to give them some instruction, and then they will accomplish that as their Dakshina for him. And so Sandipani Muni, he considers very carefully the glorious and amazing qualities of Krishna and Balaram. He considers their superhuman intelligence, and then he consults with his wife, and they choose a suitable dakshina commensurate to the talents and capabilities of these disciples, Krishna and Balaram. He tells them that he previously had a son who had died in the ocean at Prabhash Kshetra. You can still visit Prabhash today. It is some distance from, but reasonably close to Dvaraka. It's also the place where the Yarus fought and annihilated one another. We will read about that in the 11th canto, and where Krishna also chooses from whence he chooses to leave this world. So Prabhash Kshetra. So Sandipani Muni's son had gone to the ocean, and while swimming had disappeared, had gone under the water. And so he told Krishna and Balaram that as his dakshina, he would like them to bring back his son. And so Krishna and Balaram, they accepted this request, this challenge of their guru. They went on a chariot to Prabhash. They stood at the ocean's shore, and Krishna called out to Sagara Maharaj, the god of the seas, the god of the oceans, and asked that he return his guru's son. And the ocean informed them that he had not taken the son of Sandipani Muni, but rather this boy had been taken by a demon named Panchajana. Now, you might know that name. It's very famous, and we'll discuss why shortly. So Panchajana, a demon, has taken the son of Sandipani Muni. The ocean informed Krishna and Balaram that Panchajana, he travels in the water in the form of a large conch shell. And so Krishna, he dove into the water, into the ocean. He found Panchajana, killed him, took the shell, but he was unable to find the boy. He also searched inside the belly of Panchajana and was unable to find the boy there. And so he was disappointed in that lead had not paid off. So we can pause here once again. One thing we can reflect upon is gratitude. Guru Dakshina is an expression of gratitude of the disciple to the spiritual master. Krishna and Balaram's offering Guru Dakshina to their spiritual master, Sandipani Muni, teaches us, excuse me, the importance of showing gratitude to those who have given us knowledge and wisdom. Sometimes it is said that if we do not show gratitude and appreciation by offering some dakshina to the teacher, then we will lose that knowledge, or we won't be able to use it well. We won't be able to get the full benefit of that knowledge if we don't if we don't value it by expressing our appreciation to the teacher who has given us that knowledge. And so that's an important lesson here. Another is about delegating tasks and competencies. Sandipani Muni, he appears to have given an impossible task to his disciples, but these are not just any disciples, and he would not have given this task to just any disciple. He's recognized these boys are extraordinary. They are divine and capable of doing anything. And so he has given them this task accordingly. Indrajuna Maharaj, he often says that the Guru will give the instruction, along with the instruction is the ability to do it. If the Guru is given the instruction, it means they see within the disciple the potential to fulfill that instruction as well. Otherwise, that instruction would not have been given. So if our Guru gives us an instruction, we must also have faith. Oh, I can do this. My Guru Maharaj believes I can do it. I should believe in myself as well. Let's go to our third topic, the return of Sandipani Muni's son, verses 42 through to 50. Krishna took that conch shell, and that conch shell forever became famous. It is mentioned throughout the Bhagavatam. It is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. You can say it with me. Panchajanya Hrishikesho Devadatta Dhananjaya. So Krishna is described in the Bhagavad Gita as blowing his conch shell named Panchajanya. Now we know where he got that conch shell. Similarly, Arjuna, his conch shell's name is Devadatta, and so on. Bhagavad Gita mentions many other conch shells and the names of their owners. So Krishna's conch shell's name is Panchajanya. So Krishna, he took that conch shell, he went to Yamani, that is the capital city of Yamaraj, and arriving there, he loudly blew his new conch shell, Panchajanya, informing Yamaraj that he had arrived. And as soon as he heard the sound, that resounding vibration, Yamaraj came. He saw Krishna Balaram. He honored them by worshipping them with devotion. He addressed Krishna as the Supreme Lord Vishnu. He asked, "What should I do for you? What shall I do for you, O Baladev? You who are playing the part of ordinary human boys." And Krishna explained how their spiritual master's son had been brought there. And so he requested that the boy be brought to them without delay. Yamaraj accepted that command of the Supreme Lord very joyfully. And with the boy, then Krishna and Balaram returned to Sandipani Muni, presented the son to him, and then they said, "Please choose another boon from us. We are happy having done this service for you. We want to do more service. Choose another boon." But Sandipani Muni, he didn't ask for anything more. He said, "My dear boys, you two have completely fulfilled the disciple's obligation to reward the spiritual master." And then he said, "With disciples like you, what further desire could a guru have?" And so he said, "Oh heroes, now please return home. May your fame sanctify the world, and may the Vedic hymns be ever fresh in your minds, both in this life and in the next." And that is a very wonderful blessing for the disciple to hear, to receive from the spiritual master. Not just that you have received the knowledge from me, but may the knowledge always be fresh in your minds in this life and forevermore going forward. And so, receiving the blessings of Sandipani Muni to leave, Krishna and Balaram returned to Mathura, now their home, on their chariot. The chariot is described by Sukadeva Goswami as moving swiftly as the wind and resounding like a rumbling cloud. Of course, as we would expect, all the citizens rejoiced upon seeing Krishna and Balaram return to the city. They had not seen him for many days. They were feeling pangs of separation. And now their return has created a great festival of jubilation and celebration in Mathura. The citizens of Mathura felt like people who had lost their wealth and then suddenly regained it again. So some lessons for you and I as we reflect on this. One is to reflect on the importance of commitment and fulfillment of promises. Krishna and Balaram, they were given a request by their guru, and that required them to undertake a very challenging task, and they committed to it, and then they saw to it that they fulfilled their promise. They were able to deliver on the commitment they made to their guru to return his son, his dead son. And so that's an important lesson for you and I. When we make a commitment, when we make a promise, we must commit to fulfilling that. We must deliver on that. Another is Sandipani Muni's response to Krishna and Balaram's offer of another boon. Please choose something else from us. And he says, no, I'm satisfied. And so it is a lesson for us to find contentment in our relationship with Krishna. He was satisfied in having Krishna and Balaram as his disciples. He didn't want anything more. And so you and I, in having received the blessings of devotional service from Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters, having taken to bhakti, we shouldn't desire anything more. Okay, we may need necessities as we go through this life to maintain our devotional service. But overall, our desire is fulfilled. That is, we have the treasure of devotional service. Let us cultivate that. And our ultimate desire is to deepen our relationship with Krishna. We are satisfied in that relationship. We wish to just take it forward and deepen that. That is the goal of our lives. So let's conclude with a concluding and prayer that is also a summary of our discussion and lessons. O beloved Krishna, your acts of accepting the sacred thread and entering into a school speaks to the profound importance of honoring knowledge and those who light our paths with wisdom. You, the omniscient, chose to learn from mentors, reminding us of the humility that blossoms in the garden of knowledge. As you approached Sandipani Muni, your devotion and service radiated like a beacon, illuminating the path of humble learning and the sacred bond between Guru and disciple. The offering of Guru Dakshina, a symbol of gratitude for the precious gift of knowledge, further speaks to the profound value you placed on wisdom. In this act, we find the melody of respect echoing through the corridors of time, a melody that reminds us to recognize and appreciate the wisdom bestowed upon us. At the ocean's shore, you requested the return of your teacher's son before entering the ocean and killing his murderer, Panchajanya, a demon in the shape of a conch shell. Then, in the sacred realm of Yamaraj, you blew your conch shell, and even the Lord of Death bowed in devotion. Your compassion knew no bounds, teaching us that even in the amidst life's inevitable struggles, love's melody can bridge the divide. Krishna, O Supreme Lord, you asked for Sandipani Muni's son, fulfilling the pledge, honoring the commitment. In this act, we find the thread of unwavering commitment whispering to us, reminding us that promises must be kept, even when the path is fraught with challenges. In Sandipani Muni's contentment upon reuniting with his son, we discover the thread of detachment and gratitude. It tells us that in the act of giving, in fulfilling our promises, we receive a contentment that transcends the realm of material desires. O Krishna, we offer this prayer as an ode to the wisdom you have shared through your timeless journey of learning. May your lessons of reverence, dedication, and fulfillment be our guiding stars in this intricate dance of life. May we proceed with a heart open to knowledge, a soul dedicated to humble learning, and a spirit of commitment to keeping promises. And so there we conclude this class. Let me honor some of you who have joined us after I started speaking. We have Janava Mata with us from Dunedin in the South Island of New Zealand. Janava Mata says, Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, all glories to the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurachandra Ji joins us also from New Zealand. Gaurachandra says, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavats. Thank you for being here, Gaurachandra. Alicia joins us from Auckland, New Zealand. Alicia says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry for the late join. Alicia, I know you're joining us from work, so I'm grateful that you're just able to show up at all. It shows commitment and dedication. So thank you so much for being here. Madhava Priya is with us, sending gratitude. We have Sundarananda Gopal joining us from Sydney, Australia. So grateful to have you with us. Sundarananda Gopal says, Hare Krishna Pranam. My pranams to you, Prabhuji. Maybe I'll see you in Vrindavan during Kartik. I know you're usually there. So if that's the case, then my heart's desire will be satisfied. Kamala joining us from ISKCON Silicon Valley says, Hare Krishna from California. Thank you so much for being here. Sending gratitude and flower offerings. And then we have Sunny joining us as well. And Sunny says, Haribol. So thank you so much for those comments. If you have any questions or reflections on the talk, Krishna is accepting a guru and taking lessons, learning. Here we are. We have a comment from Janavamata. Janavamata says, thank you as always for sharing the nectar with us, such inspiring and instructive pastimes and realizations. Sandipani Muni's blessing that their knowledge will be ever fresh leads to my question today. Sometimes, and here I'll stop showing and just look at my own screen here. Sometimes, because we are continuously receiving teachings and knowledge, often the same knowledge repeated many times, the nature of the mind is to accept and reject. Sometimes the mind will say, I've heard that all before. I'm too full. What to do? Keep pouring it in, or take time to reflect and digest, or put it into practice, or both. Lots of options there. Janavamata, thank you so much for this question. So think about Lord Chaitanya's verse, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. He repeats his statements 3 times. And we often say, Prabhupada would say, this repetitions of Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, and then Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. They are to communicate to us, this is really important. This is so important. It must be repeated. It must be heard over and again. And each time we hear it, if we hear with attention, the message will go deeper. And the insight that comes from it will be more profound. When we read Prabhupada's commentaries as well, Prabhupada doesn't write in a way where, like some authors, they will write and they will say, okay, this is point 1, and it's made in the first chapter and it's not made again. The point has been made and so it is not repeated. Prabhupada doesn't write like that. Each purport, we could say in a sense, is complete in itself. He's constantly repeating similar messages or the same messages. Of course, within each purport, there will be something unique, a unique jewel as well. But often he's saying similar things in different ways, different words, or sometimes the same words. But this knowledge needs to be heard over and again because our conditioning is great and it must be contemplated and reflected upon. And the insight, the realization will come as a flash. We don't know when. I personally have had experience on both sides as a student where I hear something again that I've heard many times before, but then I hear it in a new way. And it's something completely, much more, a deeper level, more profound insight, realization is given to me because I was there in the class or because I was there reading the book. And then as a teacher, I've also experienced with students, as a teacher of bhakti specifically, with students whom I have been teaching, who have been coming to a class for a year or longer. And one day, by Krishna's mercy, there's realization. And it's a point that they have heard many times over. I'm speaking about new people here, so new people to bhakti. A point that is fundamental to understanding bhakti. But at one moment, Krishna decides to give the realization, even though they've been reading Prabhupada's purports with me for a long time and hearing those messages. Just at one moment, Krishna, because of their effort, then Krishna gives the realization that they really need to have in order to further advance in bhakti, a fundamental principle that needs to be understood. I've spoken it many times, Prabhupada's written it many times in the purport, but somehow it doesn't penetrate the consciousness. It's not conveyed. It's not received somehow or other. And then one day, in one moment, it's there. I don't know what all the factors are that contribute to that, but I can see it's also mercy. It's showing up and being present as a student, as a learner, to be there, pariprashna and seva. And then Krishna also is choosing to reciprocate by giving a realization of that teaching, of that knowledge. So let's see, what options did you have there? You had, should we just accept, or do we keep putting it in, or take time to reflect and digest? So time to reflect and digest is also important. The Vedic principle of learning is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana, to hear, Manana, to contemplate, and then Nididhyasana, to apply and receive realization. Those three elements need to be incorporated. It's not enough just to hear. We will hear and we contemplate or reflect or discuss, as we're doing now. There's some contemplation, reflection, discussion taking place. And then in the application or in the service, then there is insight and realization as well. So all are important. Keep pouring in, keep hearing over and again, but also reflect and contemplate and seek to apply what we learn, or consider how something applies. That's part of the application. So I try to do that a lot with these classes. And then we hope for Krishna's blessing as well, that there will be realization, that there will be insight. Thank you for the question, Janava Mata. Much appreciated. Amiyatma says, Prabhu, do you see some similarities with the Gurukul training you received in your youth and Krishna's training, setting the ideal example at the ashram of Sandipani Muni? So Amiyatma is asking this question because I went to Gurukulas. I say that in plural. I went to Gurukula schools in Australia, in Vrindavan, and in Mayapur, and in New Zealand as well. 4 different countries where I went to Gurukulas. Do I see similarities? There are similarities in that there was an effort to try to create a Gurukula environment. There was an intention of doing so. It didn't always measure up. Sometimes it fell short, but definitely there was an intention to try to apply that. And so certainly, yes, there were similarities, and I experienced profound benefit in the process, for which I'm always grateful. I guess the environment where, at least externally, but probably internally as well, the similarities were greatest were in Sridham Mayapur, in the Gurukula there. It was a very naturalistic environment, and there were efforts being made to adopt as much as possible a training that also incorporated the 64 arts and also incorporated different elements of of a traditional Vedic education. Thank you for the question. Amiyatma Janavamata says, I loved your reflections on the Lord's gratitude. It is so important to express our gratitude daily, if not moment by moment, as we realize the value of the gifts we are being continuously given. I've also loved their enthusiasm to serve their guru, not just the bare minimum, but wholeheartedly. So inspiring. And the relationship between guru and disciple, so intimate and deep. Sandipani Muni really cared and appreciated the qualities of his disciples, as they also valued and appreciated him. And I also like how Sandipani Muni consulted his wife. Yeah, that's also nice. About what dakshina they wanted. So, I agree with all of those. Thank you for sharing that, for bringing that up. It's nice how he consulted his wife about what dakshina they wanted. Great example for all of us. Absolutely. And you'll see this comes up later on. Krishna sets a bit of a precedent here. Later on in the Bhagavatam, Devaki, Krishna's mother, she's going to say, Krishna, you retrieved the lost son of your guru's wife, that the mother could be reunited with child. I also lost many sons. Your 6 brothers who came before you, they were all murdered by your uncle Kamsa. And as you were able to retrieve the son of your guru and his wife, maybe you could also retrieve the sons lost by your mother and father. So that's interesting, isn't it? A precedent being set there. I'm not going to tell you what happened next. I'll leave that for your personal study, investigation, research, curiosity. Otherwise, you'll wait until we come to that section of the Bhagavatam. Let's see. Hey, Dhruv's with us, joining us from Sydney, Australia. Dhruva says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, you spoke about repaying our debts to Guru. You have been conducting these sessions for long now, and we all benefit from this. How many of us here, you, our Shiksha Guru, what can we do, or how can we repay our debts? Interesting question there, Dhruva. What can we do? How can we repay our debts? As I feel we are simply relishing nectar, and it has just been one-way traffic. So, Dhruva, let me take you back to something Sandipani Muni said. He said that for the guru, not that I'm putting myself in that position, but for the teacher, there is no greater gift than having enthusiastic students. And so the greatest gift for me is that you're here and you're listening and you're appreciating. And that for me is the greater fulfillment. For Prabhupada, for any of his disciples, they're satisfied. Their greatest happiness is in the opportunity to be able to speak about Krishna and share Krishna with others. And so whether as a teacher or whether as a God brother or fellow community participant in Sangha, because some of you are I see you're my senior teachers as well. So I'm keeping that in mind. In any case, the gift that you give me is the opportunity to talk about Krishna and relish Srimad Bhagavatam with you. So thank you for asking the question, dear Prashanta. I called you Dhruv earlier. Thank you for asking the question, dear Prashanta. I'm grateful that you ask, and really, the gift that you give me is the opportunity to talk about Krishna. So let's conclude here. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm grateful to all of you, especially to Amiyatma and Janavamata. asking questions. Dear Prasantas asked question as well. And thank you all who left a comment to say hello. Sundarananda Gopal as well, with us from Sydney, and Kamala, and all of you. Alicia, thank you so much for joining. I'm grateful again for this opportunity to share with you. I wish you health and happiness. I wish you a peaceful heart. I wish you a deepening of taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. I wish you a deepening of taste for attentively chanting the holy name, because when we chant with attention and an intention of service, then we also receive greater gifts of mercy. I wish you a deepening of appreciation for serving Sri Vigraha and for serving Sri Dham, the holy Dham. And I wish you a deepening of appreciation for Krishna's devotees and for taking any opportunity to love and serve and express your appreciation for devotees. And through these practices, I pray that your heart is softened with love and compassion, that you share with all living beings by generously giving them these treasures of bhakti. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Val.